Hey, Jennifer and Denise. Hey, this is Brian. We just talked a couple days ago, but I just wanted to make this quick video and share the results of our REO program because they're pretty cool. So, let's get. I'm not a great zoomer. Share my screen. Okay. Okay, so you should be able to see that. So this is just the end. This is just the data part. So we covered and previously we covered the how and the why of our program, why we started it, what it is, what we're doing. So this is the data. So before so just we're going to talk about the nine. We're talking about the 10 northern counties of Idaho. Kootenai County is one of those. Kootenai County is for the most part our Idaho urban county. It's not, urban as people from like Seattle consider it, but in Idaho, Kootenai County is very urban. So when we're talking about our work in the rural communities, we're not talking about Kootenai County. We take that out of the equation. So, but I wanted to make sure to tell people, hey, like we're based in Kootenai County, like we're taking care of Kootenai County. We're not letting Kootenai County fall by the wayside to do this REO program. So this is just data from 2023. Thanks to the NDCF, there was 340 reported car seat checks in Kootenai County in 2023, and Safe Start, our organization, was responsible for 99.4% of them and 100% of the seats distributed in Kootenai County. So I want you to know that we're not foregoing taking care of Kootenai County. So here's a map of Idaho. This is what we consider our service area. These are the 10 northern counties of Idaho. And then here is the location of our REO program stops. So when we laid these programs out, we did it in a way to cover the maximum amount of rural residents in each of these counties. So these circles, these are 6 mile radius circles. So we thought about our service area and we figured, like people, you know, uh, if we can if we can get within 6 miles of somebody, hopefully they'll be able to come to one of our events if they need our services. So these are all 6 mile radius circles, and they're all distributed around like the major population centers in the rural communities of North Idaho. There's not really any major population centers. I think our biggest town that we have an event centered on might be 8,000 people. So, but there's a lot of rural people spread out from there. So these are the 18 locations that we do in the state of Idaho. They're spread around the 9 northern counties. And then just to be clear, what we're talking about now, we take Kootenai County out. We're not considering Kootenai County because Kootenai County is, for all intents and purposes, Idaho urban. So a couple real cool stats about the way that we were able to lay our program out. So our REO program covers more than 19,700 square miles in Idaho's 9 northernmost counties. Again, we're taking Kootenai County out. And just for reference, that's more area than the state of Massachusetts, Hawaii, Vermont, Maryland, New Hampshire, New Jersey, Connecticut, Delaware, and Rhode Island. So we're pretty proud of that. We're also proud of the fact that we were able to lay it out so that more than 80% of the rural residents in these 9 counties, 111,000 Idahoans, live within 6 miles of one of our rural events. So, all these 9 counties, 80% of the people have to travel less than 6 miles to get to one of our events. So, we're pretty excited about that. So, Jennifer, this is for you. This is my NDCF car seat check form. In my presentation, I said, can you do this with your data? And if you can't, you need to like rethink it. And I told people to call you, so I'm sure you'll get not a lot of phone calls from that. But we love the NDCF and what it lets us do. Everything that we're doing from here on out is thanks to our ability to get our data. So real quick, just look at what 2023 looked like in the 9 northern counties of Idaho rural. So again, we got rid of Kootenai County. So these are the other 9 northern counties in Idaho. Uh, and there, just a quick note, in Latah and Nez Perce County, there is two other urban population centers, Moscow, Idaho, and Lewiston, Idaho. We sorted and took them out of took residents in those cities out of the equation too, because those residents are served by other check stations and partners in Moscow and Lewiston. So we're not trying to serve those people because they are served. They have access to check stations, they have access to car seats. So we're focused on the rural population in Latah and uh Nez Perce County. So now that we have that out of the way, so this is what 2023 looked like organically in the nine northern in the rural areas of the nine northern counties of Idaho. When I mean organic, what I mean is checks and interactions that happened without Safe Start's involvement. Okay, so this is what it looks like. So you can see, right, Clearwater, Latah, there was no rural residents that accessed a seat check or that accessed any kind of service that lived in those counties in 2023. Lewis, we had two, Boundary, we had one. So this is what's going on in those areas without Safe Start's intervention. Okay, now when we add our REO program in for 2023, this is what it looks like. Okay, so where these nine northern counties, we had 54 seat checks go on. And then through Safe Start's REO program, right, we were able to perform 344 seat checks across these nine northern counties and distribute 217 additional seats. So when you look at the percentage of business that Safe Start is responsible for, right, like we are responsible for at least 65% of the activity in these in for the rural residents in these nine northern counties. In fact, we are 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. In fact, we are. Am I doing that right? Yeah. In fact, we are responsible for more than 90% of the activity in 7 of these 9 counties. So we're really proud of what we've been able to do. So something that's important to us, and it's the metric that we look at to see what kind of shape our rural counties are in, is this metric called service access rate, or SAR. And if you haven't heard of it, don't worry. I created it like 4 days before my presentation. But service access rate I came up with is the rate at which a community's residents are able to effectively access a program or services, right? So it's not just a measure of whether or not a community has access, but a measure of whether or not people are accessing those services, right? So a good example is I can take my truck and my trailer, and I can park in the park in Orofino, Idaho. But if I don't have a partner to get the word out, if I don't effectively market what's going on via Facebook, if I don't reach out to the people we know in the area to get the word out, right? And nobody comes, am I actually serving the community, right? So this is service access rate is a measure of what exactly is going on, not just that residents have access, but that residents are using that access. For our purpose, we express this in terms of number of seat checks per 1,000 residents of the county. So a real quick primer. We have population A, which has 100,000 residents and 150 seat checks. And then we have population B, which has 10,000 residents and 25 seat checks. So our service access rate is 1.5 seat check interactions per 1,000 people. And in community B, our service access rate is 2.5. So what this is basically saying is the population in community B, they're accessing services at a rate significantly greater than the population of uh, of 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 A. Okay, now we're not doing more seat checks there, but these residents are they're they're accessing services at a higher rate. So that's important to know because the whole point of our REO program, right, was to create equitable outcomes for our rural families. Okay, that's the whole thing we want to do is make sure that these under or completely unserved communities have access and they're using the service as much as families in our urban areas are. So that's the whole point of what we're trying to do. So for our purposes, we are using Kootenai County, which is our urban area, which has a service access rate of around 1.3 for historically for the last couple of years. So we're using Kootenai County's service access rate of 1.3 to really see what's going on in these rural communities and see, like how how they are accessing services compared to Kootenai County. So when we look at our graph, so this is 2022, okay? So that blue line, that's Kootenai County. So in 2022, right, we can see that of these 9 northern counties, 8 of them are accessing services at a rate significantly less than families than our urban families in Kootenai County. Okay. So 8 of the 9 are accessing services at a significantly lower rate than families in Kootenai County. And this is simply because of the fact that of where they live. Uh, that's it. So when we look at what 2023 looks like, okay, it's very, very similar. Uh, Again, 8 of these 9 counties, the rural residents in 8 of these 9 counties are continuing to access services at a significantly decreased rate from what families in Kootenai County are accessing these services. Okay, so uh, blue was or yellow was 2022, green is or blue. Geez, sorry, yellow is 2022. Blue is 2023 rural. Okay, this was the organic activity. Now, here comes the cool part. When we add in Safe Starts REO program, when we add in our interventions to 2023, this is what 2023 looks like in these rural counties. I'll pause for a sec so you can soak it in. So essentially what we've done over the course of the last 6 months is we've taken the rural residents in the 9 northern counties of Idaho, and where before 8 of the 9 counties were accessing services at a significantly reduced rate to families in Coeur d'Alene. Now, thanks to our REO program, our board of directors, our amazing partners, our amazing funders, and people that help us do what we're doing, now 8 of those 9 counties are accessing services at a significantly greater rate than families in Kootenai County are. So what we've essentially done is taken families who simply didn't have access, were under, or in some communities, right, like Clearwater, they've been historically unserved for who knows how long. We're looking at 2 years of data here. And now, not only do they have access to this type of service, but they are using it at a significantly greater rate than our families in Kootenai County are. So you can really say that according to this data, in the 10 northern counties of Idaho, when we throw Kootenai County back in, that Kootenai County is actually an underserved population now. So uh, our rural families that have always had access as long as we've been in business and have been accessing services, they're now an underserved population. And these rural families that have had access to virtually nothing for the last several years are accessing services at a higher rate than our urban families in Kootenai County, which we think is absolutely amazing. So here are our check numbers. We throw our service access rates in here. And then the last thing we calculated is called the relative service access rate. And this is just the number of times that people are accessing services at a greater rate than Kootenai County. So you can see like families in Benoit County are accessing services 2.3 times as often as families in Kootenai County. Bonner 1.2, Boundary 2.8, Latah 0.7. We'll get there. Keep in mind, this is just 6 months of data. This is half a year of our program, and this is the outcome for half a year of our program. In 2025, when we run this for 2024, Latah will be greater than Kootenai County. Families in Lewis County are now accessing services at 6.8 times what families in Kootenai County are. So we couldn't be more thrilled with our results. Not only have we provided access to families, we're reaching the families, which is incredibly important, right? Like we can provide access, but if we can't effectively reach these families, it doesn't matter. So this is our big wrap-up slide, right? Our REO program is all about removing barriers, providing access, and ensuring rural communities can access services at a far greater rate than our urban communities. This is the definition of equity, right? Like we love to talk about it. Everybody, like, we have tons of research and we love to talk about equity, but like our team and everyone that's helped us do this, like we've literally created more equitable outcomes for families in the 9 rural North Idaho counties. So it's not that hard to do. You just have to do the work. So this is what we do. This is what we also, we work a lot, but we're really excited about what we do. And I just wanted to make this quick video to thank you guys. You guys have both been important for like what we've been doing. Denise, she wrote that amazing article about us. That was incredible. We got so much good feedback about that. And then Jennifer, we just appreciate the NDCF and what you guys do because, like without the NDCF and able to really get my data, and if it wasn't for the NDCF, I could not get my data. This would be all anecdotal, right? And it's great. Like stories are great, but the people that like data, which like that's what tells us what's working. People that like data, anecdotal stories are not data. So we couldn't really show. There's no way we could show exactly what's happening in these rural communities without access to the NDCF and that. So just wanted to thank you all for everything you've done to help us, and I hope you got home safe, and I guess we'll see you all at camp. So have a good day, all. Bye.